A 75-year-old's artery sat on a lab bench. Researchers applied an engineered enzyme. Within hours, the chemical scarring that decades of living had etched into the vessel began to come off. When the technicians examined it under a microscope, blinded to which samples had been treated, they could tell the difference by eye alone. The damage that medicine had written off as permanent for 40 years had just been chemically erased from human tissue. Welcome to Tomorrow Unveiled, the show where we break down the news of the future for you. I'm your host, and today we're talking about something that doesn't happen very often in aging research. A fundamental assumption of the field just got overturned. For 4 decades, scientists have been saying the same thing with absolute certainty. This damage cannot be undone. Since the early 1980s, advanced glycation end products, the chemical residue that forms when sugars react with the proteins in your skin, arteries, and eyes, have been classified as effectively permanent. Locked in. A fixed part of what it means to grow old. The reasoning was sound. These modifications are chemically stable. They don't spontaneously reverse. The body has no known mechanism to remove them. So they just stay. Aaron Cravens, the CEO of Revel Pharmaceuticals and the corresponding author on the paper published this month in Nature Communications, puts the mechanism plainly. Instead of cooking at 400 degrees for 30 minutes, we are cooking at 98 degrees for 50 to 70 years, and we build up some of the same products as food, and the body has no way to get rid of them. The analogy is perfect. The same chemistry that browns a slice of bread, the Maillard reaction, sugars bonding with amino acids, unfolds in your tissues at body temperature across a lifetime. The result looks similar too: browning, stiffening, loss of flexibility. And until now, it's been treated as irreversible. But here's what matters. That certainty had an expiration date on it. This week, researchers published proof that it expired. This class of damage has been seen as a fixed part of aging since the 1980s, Craven said in the announcement. What we've shown is that CML damage in human tissue can in fact be reversed under laboratory conditions. An independent glycation researcher from the University of Arizona, James Galligan, described the implications from outside the team. These modifications are rock solid. They're not going to go anywhere. These have long been thought to be irreversible. The story isn't really about an enzyme. It's about what happens to a field when a 40-year-old certainty turns out to have been incomplete. To understand why this matters, you need to know what's actually happening when these chemical modifications accumulate. Advanced glycation end products, or AGEs as the field calls them, form on long-lived proteins. The kind of proteins that your body makes once when you're young and then keeps for decades. Collagen and elastin in your skin and blood vessel walls. Crystalline in the lens of your eye. These proteins aren't recycled the way most cellular machinery is. They're more like infrastructure, laid down early, meant to last, which means they get a lifetime of exposure to reactive sugars floating around in the bloodstream. As those proteins get chemically gummed up over decades, something physical happens. Tissues stiffen. Arteries lose their elasticity. Skin loses its resilience. The lens of the eye clouds over. This isn't cosmetic. It's mechanical. A stiffened artery drives up systolic blood pressure. Stiffened tissue accelerates the cascade that leads to stroke, kidney damage, and diabetic complications. But there's a second mechanism at work, and it's nastier. The specific age that Revel's enzyme targets, carboxymethyl-lysine, or CML, isn't just inert scarring. It acts as a ligand for something called RAGE, the receptor for advanced glycation end products. When CML binds to RAGE, it triggers chronic inflammatory and oxidative stress signaling. So the same molecule does 2 jobs at once. It physically degrades the tissue, and it chemically keeps a low-grade fire burning through it. That dual role is exactly why removing it, rather than just slowing its formation, is such a compelling target. You're not just stopping new damage, you're potentially quieting the inflammation that existing damage is driving. That's a different kind of intervention than anything the field has tried before. Here's the problem. Nature never built an enzyme to do this job. For decades, researchers have been hunting for a way to reverse CML. They've tried everything. Blocking the reactions that form it, accelerating the body's detoxification systems, scavenging the reactive sugars before they can bind. Nothing worked on the damage already woven into aged tissue, and that's because evolution never faced this problem. Humans don't naturally live long enough, at least not historically, to accumulate enough CML to be worth evolving a solution for. So Revel went looking for a starting point and then engineered one from scratch. The team computationally screened nearly 45,000 protein structures, looking for anything with even a faint hint of the right chemistry. They found it in an obscure bacterium called Chelidothermus roseus. There was a glycine oxidase in that organism's toolkit, a protein that had the vaguest suggestion of being able to do what they needed. On its own, Cravens describes it as super dull. It had the right idea and almost none of the right activity. Then came the sharpening. Using directed evolution, the same Nobel Prize-winning technique that Francis Arnold pioneered, where you iteratively mutate and select the best variants across generations. Revel ran 5 rounds of selection across more than 500 million enzyme variants. Each round, they kept the ones that worked better and threw away the ones that didn't. Each round, the enzyme got sharper. By the end, they'd produce CrGO897, which they call CMLase. Here's the crucial part. CMLase doesn't just chop CML out and leave a hole in the protein. It oxidizes the CML modification in a precise way that restores the original lysine residue underneath. The protein gets repaired, not amputated. That distinction, reversal rather than demolition, is what separates this from earlier ideas about simply digesting damaged proteins wholesale. Because CML takes a human lifetime to build up, mice are useless for this kind of testing. A 2-year-old mouse, which is ancient by rodent standards, simply hasn't lived long enough to accumulate meaningful CML. If you're 50, 60, or 70, you've had a totally different life experience than a mouse that's lived for 2 years, Cravens noted. So the team did something unusual. They went straight to aged human tissue. They got arterial tissue from a 75-year-old donor, elderly skin lens proteins from a 64-year-old donor, tissues where CML has had decades to entrench itself, tissues where the browning reaction has been running at body temperature for half a century or more. And the results outran the team's own expectations. "We were pretty floored," Craven said, "because we were expecting a 20% reduction. Instead, CMLase removed more than 70% of CML in the 75-year-old's arterial tissue, more than 55% in aged skin, dropping it below the level typically seen in a 31-year-old's skin, between 45 and 78% in lens proteins, depending on the measurement method. Here's the detail that really sells the effect size. An independent lab ran the arterial testing blinded. The technicians didn't know which samples had been treated, and they could identify the treated sample by eye. Not by running biochemical assays, by looking at it. When an effect size is that large, Craven said, you can see it with your own eyes. But here's where discipline matters. Hold that excitement honestly. By one biochemical measure, an old artery now resembles a younger one is a real and striking result. And it is not the same as the artery is young again. Keep those two sentences distinct. This is where the episode names its real subject. And it's the most important reframe in the whole story. For decades, the medicine and supplement worlds have approached ages the way you'd approach rust on a car. Try to slow it down. Block the reactions that form it. Limit the damage going forward. Metformin, carnosine, various antioxidants, they're all prevention strategies. Every single one of them shares a fatal limitation. They can do nothing about the damage already woven into a 60-year-old's tissues. The authors of the study put it this way. Prior approaches cannot address damage already accumulated over decades, nor restore the native structure of modified proteins. CMLase attacks from the other end. It goes after the damage that's already there. That flips the field's mental model. Prevention says aging is a process you decelerate. Slow it down enough, and you buy time. Repair says At least some of aging is an accumulation you can actually subtract. You can remove what's already built up. Cravens frames the emotional turn bluntly. Seeing a modification the whole field had written off as permanent, coming off tissue from a 75-year-old really reframes how you think about aging damage generally. Not as a permanent sentence, but as a chemical reaction that can be undone. Hold both readings, because both are honest. Optimistically, this opens a door prevention never could, cleaning up damage after the fact, when most people don't think about aging until it's already announced itself in their mirror or their doctor's office. Skeptically, prevention is still the cleaner ideal. Stop the damage before it forms. And a single lesion removed ex vivo is a very long way from a body made measurably younger. Both are true at once, and that tension is worth keeping. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. And turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. The lineage of this research matters, because this result is the payoff of one of longevity science's longest shot wagers. Revel Pharmaceuticals traces back to the lab of David Spiegel at Yale University. But the underlying program, clearing sugar-driven crosslinks in AIDS as a route to rejuvenation, was originally conceived and pushed by Aubrey de Grey and the Science Research Foundation. SENSE stands for Strategies for Engineered Negligible Senescence. It's a damage repair philosophy. Treat aging as 7 categories of accumulated molecular damage to be fixed rather than a clock to be reset. For years, glucosapine and its chemical cousins were considered almost impossible to even study. Too rare to isolate, too chemically complex to synthesize. SENSE-funded work changed that. They synthesized enough glucosapine to start hunting enzymes at all. That groundwork made everything that came after possible. Revel today is a preclinical San Francisco company. Its research supported in part by NIH Small Business Innovation Research grants. Not a household name. Not a $10 billion biotech empire. But this week they published in Nature Communications, the same journal where the establishment's most prestigious results land. So the outside reactions carry weight. De Grey called the work a really major breakthrough, something that researchers have tried and failed to do for decades, in arguably the single most neglected aspect of aging, damage repair. And there's a pointed subplot worth dwelling on. One of the paper's collaborators is Calico, Alphabet's famously secretive, famously well-funded longevity venture. Calico has spent a decade searching for exactly this kind of win. De Grey's dry aside, great also to see Calico being involved in something significant at last, is the kind of line a host should not skate past. The bet that the establishment, underfunded for years, just produced the establishment's headline result. Here's the discipline that keeps this story trustworthy. The authors deliberately stopped short of claiming rejuvenation. Every number in the study came from excised human tissue in a dish, not a living person. Not an animal with intact biology, not a human volunteer. A piece of tissue on a bench. The paper itself states, while we demonstrated the chemical reversal of CML, it remains to be determined if this translates to the recovery of tissue biomechanics or the silencing of pathogenic rage signaling in vivo. In plain terms, they showed the scorch marks come off. They have not yet shown that a descarred artery actually regains its youthful flexibility. They haven't shown that removing CML quiets the inflammation it was driving. Chemical reversal is not yet functional reversal, and the road from here is genuinely hard. Delivering an engineered bacterial-derived enzyme into intact tissue raises questions that this study doesn't touch. How do you get it into the dense extracellular matrix where the damage lives? What happens to an immune system when it encounters a foreign bacterial protein? How do you ensure it reaches all the tissues that need it? These are not small engineering problems. Several of the marquee numbers came from single donors. Most importantly, and this is the caveat that separates a real proof of concept from hype, CML is one modification. The damage that stiffens tissue most, glucosapine, is a crosslink. It chemically welds 2 proteins together rather than tagging a single residue. That's a harder engineering problem. CMLase does not solve it, not yet. Cravens is candid about this. CMLase is a proof of principle for the platform, not the finish line. This is an important experimental advance, not a clinical one. And saying so out loud is what earns the right to be excited about it. So where does this point? What's the actual significance beyond this one enzyme? The significance might be that the enzyme matters less than the platform behind it. Revel's stated vision is a systematic toolkit, one enzyme per type of damage, working through the whole catalog of gunk that builds up in our tissues as we age. In Craven's words, the company is already aiming its directed evolution platform at 3 categories of accumulated damage: AGEs, protein crosslinks, glucosamine squarely on the roadmap, and crystal deposits. That spans indications from gout and cardiovascular and kidney disease to diabetic complications and skin aging. The tantalizing long-term image Craven's floats is a one-and-done cleanup, a treatment that removes decades of accumulated damage in a single course, rather than a pill taken every day for the rest of your life. But the deeper significance is methodological. If directed evolution can conjure a brand new enzymatic activity against a lesion that nature never evolved to touch, if you can go from "this is impossible" to "we removed 70% of it" in a few years of protein engineering, then today's CMLase is less a product than a proof that the whole repair toolkit is buildable. That's the through line to watch. Not "is this the cure," but does the platform produce a second enzyme, and a third, and a fourth? For a channel that tracks paradigms rather than press releases, the story here is that damage repair just moved from a compelling slide in an Aubrey de Grey talk to a peer-reviewed result in Nature Communications. And the next data point is whether it happens again with a harder target. Oh, and if you're watching on your phone, there's a hype button right below the video. Smashing that really helps smaller channels like ours get discovered. So what do we actually know right now? And what are we waiting to see? We know that CML, the most abundant advanced glycation end product in aged tissue, can be chemically reversed by an engineered enzyme. We know it can be done in human tissue from a 75-year-old donor. We know the effect size is large enough to see with the naked eye. We know the underlying protein is repaired, not destroyed. What we don't know yet, whether that chemical reversal translates to functional improvement in a living body, whether an enzyme can be delivered into intact tissue effectively, whether the immune system will tolerate it, whether the same platform works for harder targets like glucosamine crosslinks, whether the result replicates in other labs. But here's what's shifted. The assumption that damage is permanent is no longer a given. It's a hypothesis. And hypotheses can be tested and overturned. For the first time in 40 years, that question is open. The arrow of aging may well point where its advocates say it does, toward slow decline, toward accumulation, toward a body that gets less and less repairable as time goes on. But what this week showed is that at least some of that accumulation can be undone. And that changes what we're allowed to ask next.
Let the future be